Welcome to Rye-house in Hertfordshire for our second visit of the year to the RHPK Endurance Karting Championship in association with Burton Power and ITS Tools. There's another sellout grid with 36 teams set to tackle the latest 4-hour race. It's a phenomenal success story as the popularity of the series continues to soar.
I think it's the relationships that people build up, it's the bonds that people do, it's the close racing. I think it's such an accessible cup, so you come in to us and everyone kind of introduces themselves, and it's the friendships people make, it's the camaraderie, it's everyone's really pulling together to make it a fantastic. So I mean, it wouldn't be the same without all the people that we have.
Everybody's prepared to help, to get you out on the circuit, even to give you advice to go faster in some instances. So yeah, for us this year in particular, that's been really helpful because we've struggled with the extra competition, so we need every bit of help to get us a bit quicker.
It's a very friendly series, and there's racing for any level of competitor. So right at the front it is really tough, and we've got some really good drivers there, and you can go right to the back of the grid. You can just be pretty much an amateur and come in and learn your skills and gradually work your way up the grid.
It's a very unique atmosphere in karting, I must say. A lot of kart meetings I go to, it's very serious. A lot of people stay locked away in their awnings, but everyone helps each other out. I mean, there was a meeting a while ago where someone had an engine go, and within 17 seconds he had a new engine. People help each other out, they do a barbecue as well, and they do a lot of fundraising for anything they can. They do a lot off track as well as on track.
It's just completely different to any other series. There's a lot of razzmatazz leading up to the event, which is great. You got all the build-up with the grid walk, you got the show car at the beginning. So that's one of the main appeals of this series. And plus, there's a lot of good teams here as well. So if you win here, you feel you've done a real good job.
In round one, we saw victory for number 17 RPM Racing, just ahead of reigning champions Helicopter Services. 2016 vice champions Custom Rods were third, with March Racing winning the Clubman's class. But now they face a curveball with the introduction of a new qualifying format.
We've got a one-lap qualifying today. Basically, it was from the feedback we had from the Winter Cup. We did a one-off Winter Cup where we had just a one-lap qualifying. There's no out-lap at all. It's literally straight out the pits and straight into your lap.
I think it's great. I mean, it spices it all up. I mean, we'll probably see a team that hasn't got a pole before on pole because there's cold tyres. So you go out first corner and you've got no grip at all. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, actually. I'm looking forward to it.
It's obviously very difficult because literally you've got a few yards and you are on your time lap. So it's a case of, do you push it really hard or do you go for a more consistent lap?
Bit nervous because I'm doing the qualifying. I haven't done it before, but I had a practice earlier on. If you go out, you can make a small mistake and then it knocks your confidence the rest of the lap. Or if you completely lose it in the corner, that can really mess it up. But I'm looking forward to it. Fingers crossed, take it easy, don't floor it too much because you don't want to lose the back end, and just try and get it around in one piece and in a quick time.
There was much anticipation as everybody gathered trackside for the single-lap qualifying shootout. The running order for qualifying had been randomly drawn earlier in the week, and it was the 58 kart of HRS2 that would go first, knowing that there would be no second chances, no margin for error. The RHPK teams are split into two classes, Supers and Clubman. The kart spec is exactly the same for both categories, but with red number plates, Supers is for faster, more experienced drivers, and with green number plates, Clubman is for newer or amateur level drivers. Despite falling into the latter category and shrugging off the pressure of having all eyes upon them, HRS2 posted an excellent lap time of 43.9 seconds. The team's superclass kart was also out early, but a lock-up into the hairpin cost them time, and the 14 kart of HRS1 ended up 0.07 of a second slower than their teammates, proving just how competitive the championship has become.
Top 8 are certainly real fast, so if we can get anywhere near that, we'll be happy. The work going on behind the background is probably the most important bit. That you'll see that the karts at the top are always the best prepared, always the best turned out, always the best presented.
Following a 13-year break, Dick Hawcutt and Team Stickies made a welcome return to RHPK and organised some fundraising for the victims of the Manchester atrocities. HRS2's time was finally beaten when the superclass kart of Titan Motorsport went half a second quicker with a 43.4. Helicopter Services couldn't beat that, but they did push HRS2 off the front row of the grid, second quickest with a 43.7. But they were then demoted to third when Custom Rods beat them by 1/10 of a second. HRS2 was still the fastest clubman's team in qualifying, although brand new team Time Crisis were quick to impress as they went second in class. Round 1 winners RPM put in a good lap to go second overall with a 43.5, but still nobody was able to topple Titan Motorsport. The Amigos team then went fourth fastest, just 17 thousandths of a second slower than Custom Rods in third, but only just ahead of Helicopter Services, who are now demoted to fifth. Their sister squad, Amigos 2, also ran well to go third fastest in the clubman's category. One of the last to go was ABA Racing. They had taken pole in a more traditional qualifying format for round 1. But Pierce Pryor was relishing the challenge and by a mere 60 thousandths of a second snatched pole position from Titan Motorsport. It was a thrilling climax to an enthralling qualifying session. But now the real work would begin, a 4-hour endurance race where clever strategy and good teamwork would be just as important as fast lap times, none more so than during the 2 mandatory pit stops.
Yeah, it's very important. Obviously things like changing lead makes a difference. I see there's some guys with some ingenious little contraptions for clipping their lead on and off in no time at all. We're not quite to that standard yet. We just use the R-clips and some cable ties to rip them out. But you know, it's all fun and games.
RHPK isn't just about great racing, it's about giving the teams and spectators a memorable experience. And so before the race got underway, everybody was treated to some demonstration laps from Tom Marshall in the Toyota Starlet drift car with its Burton-prepared Cosworth engine. As the teams made their way onto the grid, we got a few last-minute thoughts from some of the leading qualifiers.
It's going to be intense. There's a lot of karts, a lot of really quick teams and drivers, also a mixture of pace as well, so making your way through the back market is always very important. I'll go as quickly as I can. I'm double stinting today, so hopefully it'll all go to plan.
4 hours is a long time, isn't it? We've seen races go on in the past where it's not all about qualifying, but to be fair, it's nice to start from P2. It's our highest grid position so far this year, so it's always good to start from the front row. But all we can do is just let the race settle in for the first stint, make sure we have no mistakes at the start of the race, could get a bit hairy out there, and then, see how it goes from there.
If I'm honest, I'm a little bit annoyed at myself. We were 7 thousandths off in on the inside, which I think is going to make quite a big difference. But we'll do our best. I don't really plan on aiming for a set position, get as far up as we can, see if we can have some fun with these red plate boys.
Blue skies, bright sunshine, perfect conditions, and a capacity grid of 36 karts about to get 4 hours of RHPK endurance racing underway, and Pierce Pryor from pole position in kart number 3, ABA Racing, into the lead at Stadium Bend. Everybody safely through. 17 RPM one are in second place, up to third from fifth on the grid. The 22 kart of Amigos as Titan dropped back from the front row. On board with Jonas Sukas now for JND Racing on the tail of the 31 Burton power kart of Nick Griggs. Both trying to work their way up from outside the top 20 as the number 7 Jam kart comes down the inside. So too 56, that's the APL Racing kart. They're running on a borrowed engine lent to them by Polish Lambo, but having a pretty good start here and getting in between, but coming back around the outside now with the onboard camera is Zukas, and he'll have the better line through the second part of the S's to get the place back. End of lap 1 then. There are the top 3. ABA Racing from pole position lead the way. Cracking start for RPM1 in second place, and even better start for Amigos from 5th to 3rd, just behind, and down into the infield hairpin for the second time. There you go. ABA Racing got pole position in the first round of the championship as well, but could only finish 4th, just off the podium. Can they hold on? A long, long way to go. Second place for RPM1, who were the winners of the first round, and third after that cracking start are Amigos. On board now with number 36, KA Racing with the onboard camera. This is Adam Harrington. Up ahead, Jeff Lamb for Lambo Racing, who squeezes down the inside of Reece Shepherd in the number 21 Dad and Lad kart. Trying to come alongside him now with the onboard is Harrington. Great battle going on there in the midfield. As we see 19, Andy O'Neill, Titan Motorsport, down to 6th place now from the front row. As number 4, Elliot Mason for JRH Racing guides his kart at the inside of Greg Paulik in the Polish Lambo kart. That a change for 13th place. Here we've got a 4-way battle going on for 4th place. At the head of it now is the number 1 Helicopter Services kart of Ben Cook. They were second in the opening round of the championship. They're the reigning champions and also won the title in 2013. As we see a spin for Nick Griggs for Burton Power, the number 31 kart. They are normally front runners in the Clubman category. Griggs gets the speed back up and just about fends off the number 41 kart of Artifex, but lots of positions lost there. And here's a replay on board just behind with J&D Racing, and the kart just snapped away going into the apex of the corner. He quickly recovered but lost half a dozen places. The leader stretching away meanwhile from RPM1, and this is the battle for third place. Ben Cook has caught up now with Amigos, who almost waves him through to Stadium Bend. He knows that Ben Cook is quicker, he knows there's a long way to go. And the long-term plan is sometimes the right way to go in endurance racing, as we see Jeff Lamb, number 8, down the inside of Lee Babbage in the Karting Magazine kart. And following him through is Adam Harrington with the number 36 kart, the KA Racing kart, through as well, with a good piece of opportunistic driving there. That was all on the way through turn 1 at Stadium Bend. So there is number 8, Jeff Lamb. They had to use old tyres because they couldn't get things ready in time for qualifying, so they struggled in qualifying, but Lambo Racing are normally up there, and onto the tail now of Polish Lambo in the number 32 kart, as we see 33 Silverline Racing having a go at the 21 kart of Ladadad Racing. They're 3 abreast now on board with Jonas Sukas in kart number 55, who squeezes down the inside of both of them, and also in the process gets himself up into the top 6 now in the Clubman class, relieving that position from Silverline Racing. Back up front, it's all looking very comfortable so far for Piers Pryor and ABA Racing, and there's a good scrap going on here now between number 25, GKD Racing. Coming up the inside is Titan Motorsport, got 22 up there as well, and Mark Beaumont, number 2 for Custom Rods, has caught them all up as well, and they're almost 3, 4, 5 abreast here on the way to Pylon Bend. Fantastic battling. Gaining a place there is Mark Beaumont for Custom Rods, and he gets himself now up into the top 6 as we see the Polish Lambo number 32 kart going side by side with Tom Schipperell for Artifex, who have got good pace here and improving all the time and having a good scrap. The reason they're battling each other is because Polish Lambo have dropped down the order somewhere and lost quite a few places on the previous lap. A little bit battered at the front of the kart, but Mark Beaumont is unperturbed and gets another place here, moving ahead of the 25 GKD Racing kart. Back on board with Zukas now for J&D Racing, on board with the helmet cam as he looks this way than that and gets at the inside of Team Airy also. That Team 42 finishing in the top 6 in round 1. But Zukas is on a mission. Stefano Antonio for number 54, Burton Power, wags there, making some progress up the order, trying to come back up the order, and gaining a place into Stadium is Nick Griggs for Burton Power, number 31. Leading the Clubman class though, 58 HRS2, Sam Cassidy, who was the quickest Clubman driver in qualifying, is also in the top 10 overall. 62 Time Crisis, second in the Clubman class. A new team, Lawrence Toombs is behind the wheel. There's number 6, just behind them, Focus Racing, and just behind 59 Amigos 2, third in the Clubman's class. 4 hours of endurance racing for the RHPK series, and from pole position it's Piers Pryor for ABA Racing, number 3, but leads now by 5 seconds from RPM1 in the 17 kart. Up to third position is the Helicopter Services team, the reigning champions, with Ben Cook on board for this first stint of the race. It's nose to tail for 4th and 5th between Custom Rods, number 2, and number 19, Titan Motorsport. Number 14, HRS1 are up to 6th place. It's side by side for 7th, and number 25, GKD Racing, with a lovely move. That was Sean Dorling up the inside of the 22 Amigos kart, just about fending him off as they go back through the S's. Arm aloft though, and problems for number 43, going very slowly. That, I'm afraid, is Evolution, who are not having many revolutions at the moment, but they're not far away from the pit lane entry. And it's getting closer and closer for second place in the Clubman's class between 62 Time Crisis and 59 Amigos 2. Into the pits with problems, I'm afraid, number 24, Spectre Racing and Stuart Allen. They were running in the top 10. On board with Adam Harrington for KA Racing, who is harassing now the number 4, Elliot Mason kart. Through Stadium Bend he comes. That was a whiz move on the exit to the corner. And Harrington now 5th in the Clubman class. The Clubmans with the green plates, the super karts with the more experienced, quicker drivers have the red plates. And there is number 17, RPM1, who are in amongst the elite group and running 2nd overall, working their way through the traffic now, which is going to be a real feature of this 4-hour race around the Rye-house circuit. They can see the number 36 kart of Harrington, who pulled off that lovely move at Stadium Bend, and he is now coming up to the tail of the 53 kart of March Racing. So a battle for 4th in Clubman class. There is the Karting Magazine team. Lee Babbage, new kart for them this weekend, with the new Team 7 chassis to get used to. And there's Danny Russell in number 14 HRS1, who's gone from 9th up to 5th. Runners-up in the championship for the last 2 years running, but Custom Rods have had to change an engine, so they've dropped out of the top 4. It's very, very close for the Clubman class, though. In fact, it's this close. The top 3 together, 59 Amigos 2 with 62 Time Crisis, and then 53 March Racing. The 36 kart has dropped back from them. That's KA Racing because they made a very early driver change after just 30 minutes. Most teams expected to go an hour and 15, an hour and 20 minutes before they change drivers. Ben Cook for helicopter services from the top 3 being refueled. Looks like Nick Griggs is double stinting for Burton Power. They are struggling with the kart, though, after being hit fairly early on in the race. They normally are front runners in the Clubman class. There is the overall race leader, but Pierce Pryor for ABA Racing is being reeled in by this man, Charlie Bingham, for RPM 1. He's got the gap down to just under 4 seconds now, and there's been a lengthy delay here in the pits as adjustments are made to the number 1 helicopter services kart. John Igo is in position, but still adjustments being made to the kart, and this is probably going to drop them out of the top 3. After 122 laps of racing, a red flag following an incident between number 33 Silverline Racing, number 4 JRH Racing and 57 SJ Lambo. All the drivers okay, but the race stopped for a period of 20 minutes.
Basically, I was following Silver Lining race team. I was right behind him, and he turned back to look to see where I was. And as he turned back, someone came out the pits. He crossed the yellow line, and as he looked straight ahead of him again, he smashed straight into him. I saw it happening, avoided it the best I could. Unfortunately, clipped the grass, lost control, was a passenger into the tyre wall.
The great news, the 3 drivers, Paul Argent, Darrell Lane and Toby Spooner Green, all okay. The race getting back underway, so ABA lead them back around. Neither they nor second place RPM1 have yet made their pit stop, and of course they've lost all of their advantage now over the rest of the field. 19 Titan Motorsport now much closer to them in 3rd place. Down the inside, though, of them comes the 22 Amigos kart. Also coming up the inside, the number 14 HRS1 kart, but they're both a lap down and remain a lap down. So still 3rd is the Titan Motorsport kart. On board with Artifacts now. 41 alongside is the 54 Burton Wags kart, and around the outside on the way into the 2nd hairpin. So everybody now using this as an opportunity to gain places. In the background, number 17 RPM1 Charlie Bingham going in for their stop now, their first of 2 mandatory pit stops. Staying out, though, is Pierce Pryor in the number 3 kart. There then is the battle for 4th place. They're a lap down on the top 3, but it's 22 Amigos being under pressure now. Big pressure from number 14 HRS1. Danny Russell can't find a way through. The changes happen now in terms of refueling and driver changes for RPM1, as Austin Monday now takes his turn behind the wheel, and a nice clear track ahead as well, so no traffic, and should be able to get straight up to pace here. Well, it's early evening, we're approaching 2/3 race distance. Everybody has now made their first mandatory pit stop, and it's Andrew Bishop leading for number 3 ABA Racing, but still only a few seconds clear of number 17, which is now Austin Monday for RPM1. The other kart on the lead lap is Jack O'Neill for Titan Motorsport in kart number 19. A lap down, running in 4th place are Amigos, who are last year's Clubman's champions, now in Supers. And there are the top 2 in the Clubman's in this race. 59 Amigos 2 just ahead of 53 March Racing. Oliver Wedden just ahead of Paul Yetton. 3rd is Graham Cobb for number 62, which is the new team Time Crisis, who are just outside the top 10. Now that red flag has had an effect on the way teams are planning their strategy for the rest of the race, as Mike March explains.
We are going to run the last driver for half an hour. Basically a splash and dash, which we've been allowed to do because of the incident on the straight, which stopped the race for a period of time, hence giving us more petrol. So we're going to use that hopefully to our advantage, splash and dash, get the nav driver out there and do the last half an hour.
Into the pits with problems, I'm afraid, are Amigos from 4th place. That's going to put HRS up to 4th, and number 6 Focus Racing up into 5th place. And another kart which has been in and out of the pits, number 21 Lad and Dad.
Well, our chain snapped once, chewed the sprocket up, came in and fixed it, and then it chewed the sprocket up again, realigned it, came in, chain came off, so we've come in, realigned it, and Dad's out there having fun now, so it seems to be working.
Just over an hour to go. ABA Racing still have the fastest lap, they still have the lead, but only just, because number 17, Austin Monday for RPM1, is right on the tail now of Andrew Bishop for the lead of the race. Into the pits and refueling, that's J&D Racing, 4th in the Clubman class. Tomas Grilovic has struggled with an injury and has only had a very short stint. The first stint driver, Jonas Zukas, is pushing the kart now from the refuelling bay back onto the grid. And look at this for slick work. Thomas is about to get out and be replaced by Lee Kemp. Meanwhile, Jonas is firing it up. He pulls the ripcord, the engine fires up, and back out they go. And that is how to do a pit stop in RHPK. Fantastic stuff. There's number 8, Jack Mitchell for Lambo Racing. Another team moving up the order, despite 1 or 2 issues, as Jeff Lamb explains.
It was going really well at the start. Then we had a problem, bit of vibration. Then one of the engines cut out. It turned out the fuel line had came off. So we fueled up. Meant we were going to have to do a splash and a dash at the end. But because of the red flag, we don't have to do that now. So we're fueled up and hopefully we'll be rising up a bit further.
Into the closing stages and big drama. ABA Racing still lead. However, they've picked up a 5-lap penalty for accidental fuel spillage in their second mandatory pit stop. So that's going to put RPM1 into the lead of the race here in kart number 17. Up to second place will come number 19, Titan Motorsport. Third, but a lap behind Titan, even though they're right behind them, are Helicopter Services, who've worked their way back up the order very well indeed. The 14 kart of HRS1 has also picked up a 5-lap penalty for incorrect driver position during the pit stops. So number 25, GKD Racing, are up to 4th place overall. And J&D now lead the Clubman's class. They've got themselves up to 2nd into the last stint. And March Racing then had a collision with another kart. So they've dropped to 3rd. In between them, 59 Amigos 2 are in 2nd place. March Racing have gone from 1st to 3rd with just a few minutes of the race to go. And a noteworthy drive from ZJ Racing in kart 38. They've gone from 33rd at the start of the race up to 14th place. That puts them 5th in the Clubman's class, just behind Polish Lambo, 6th and 7th KA Racing number 36 and 41 Artifacts. But the checkered flag is being unfurled, and to add to their round 1 victory, it's going to be another win for RPM1. They take the checkered flag after 4 hours of racing, and 5th place overall and winning the Clubman's class, it's J&D Racing. Here's confirmation of the results with Titan Motorsport and Helicopter Services on the podium. That late race penalty dropping ABA to 10th place.
Well, we were a bit low on fuel, so we had to get in as soon as possible, really. We was looking to get in just before the red flag, so we just got straight in as soon as we could.
After ABA got the 5-lap penalty, it was comfortable for us, really. So, yeah, it was a good race. I only did half an hour, so because of the red flag, so it was the easiest half hour I've ever done, to be honest.
2nd in round 1, and now a Clubman's win for J&D Racing, despite a poor qualifying session.
Yeah, we took a chance. We had a really low tyre pressures. Obviously didn't pay off, but we knew we got a pace in the race to get a decent result. Yeah, and we're here.
J&D picking up the victory after March Racing had a spin with just 15 minutes to go.
We all got kind of held up with traffic, and eventually I think we just put a lot of pressure on them. And it's sad for them, unfortunately, but I think the pressure got to them and they crumbled slightly. So, but great for us, great win.
It was a top 5 podium for Clubman's, and well, I think we've done more than enough for the first place. So yeah, it's great thing.
Another terrific display of top-level endurance karting from RHPK, and we'll be back at Rye-house later in the year for the season finale.